All right, we're bringing our man Rob Brooks from NBC Sports Bay Area 49ers pre and post. We've been talking for 5 minutes
It's a
already, getting our
legend, Rob
jokes.
Brooks,
So,
man. That's a legend,
absolutely,
man.
absolutely,
Thank you,
man.
thank you.
We could just crack the mics and talk. We could talk Ohio players with
Straight up.
Rob being in good shape.
Sweet sticky thing.
Now, that's
I
gonna
went
go
with
over
that one.
some
I could have
people's
gone. I
heads.
could have said Love Roller Coaster, but I didn't. I went with
No,
that
you
one.
didn't. You went with Sweet Sticky Thing, which is great for our audience. That's terrific. There's gonna be pause moments all over the comment section. Concern level when you saw Christian McCaffrey on the injury report yesterday?
Okay, so I heard it straight from my new partner on NBC Sports Bay Area Niners pre and post game shows, the great the Don Matt Mayoko, and Matt, he's doing television with us, but Matt is a reporter, and Matt knows how to get the story and source the story. So when you get it from Matt, you're getting the straight dope. So anyway, so Matt drops the information yesterday at around 4:45 after he finished his interview with Kyle Shanahan, and when I got it from Matt didn't seem to be too concerned. Now, this was yesterday, and the word that was put out there in terms of McCaffrey being able to practice was the word limited. So I took that as, okay, I'm going to look at this as glass half full. It's a lower leg injury with Christian McCaffrey. So immediately you start to go, Chicken Little, the sky's falling. And I completely understand that. But my thing is, he's limited, okay? That's not optimal, but it's better than Christian McCaffrey couldn't practice. Okay, now we go to today. Christian McCaffrey at practice. They just started at 12:35, okay? He was out there in uniform for the team drills. Then he went off to the side and started working with the trainers and the big wigs and as far as performance is concerned for the Niners. So I say all that to say I don't necessarily like it, quite frankly. I think he's eventually, when the status report comes out, he's either going to be questionable or probable. Questionable, it is what it is. He may play, he may not play. That's the 50-50 chance. Probable is 75%. Obviously, full go is full go, 100%. If he's questionable, that's a concern. Probable, no concern. Him playing Sunday, just from my point of view, I think it might be in doubt, quite frankly, for this to creep up. And this is just my point of view, not anything I've heard, not anything I've seen fully. It's just my point of view. I think if he's questionable, he doesn't play because the long game is the game that they have to play with Christian McCaffrey. So right now, it's not great. And I don't know if there's enough time for it to truly get better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that as well. Like, one of the things that we hear all the time in sports, and I know Dame kind of rolls his eyes when people say this, but if Kyle Shanahan gets on there and says, if this was a playoff situation, he'd be out there, but it's the first game of the season, so we're going to play it safe. And I roll my eyes at that sometimes too, but I think with Christian McCaffrey and the 49ers and how important he is to the 49ers, if there is any doubt, maybe it's not the worst thing in the world to sit him for a game, maybe even two.
If this were to crop up in, let's just say, 3 weeks into training camp, the Niners they'd shut him down. All right. Or maybe not shut him down, but they would definitely take the side of, all right, we're not going to push it. We're going to do what we need to do to get him ramped up as soon as we can and ready for the first game of the season. I think if it were a must-win game, a late season game, or if it's a playoff game, he's probably going to play. Discretion is the better part of valor here for the Niners. I will say this, while this potential scenario is not optimal, the Niners have beaten the Seahawks in Seattle 3 years in a row. They went up there last year and beat Seattle without Christian McCaffrey. They did it with Isaac Guerrero running for almost 100 yards, 10 for 99. They ran for 228 yards and 3 touchdowns. Did that without Christian McCaffrey. Now, that's a different Seattle defense. They're placing a value on being able to stop the run, like all smart teams, as the Niners are, like all smart teams do. It's a different Seattle team. It's a different year. It's an entirely different situation. But my point is that in this very hypothetical scenario of possibly not having Christian McCaffrey or not having a fully healthy Christian McCaffrey is not a death sentence for the Niners to go to Seattle and play a game and compete and win, because they just did it last year. Now, here's the thing. Brock Purdy last year, 18-28, 3 touchdowns. Who did 2 of those 3 touchdowns go to? It went to Deebo Samuel, who's no longer on the team. He had 3 catches for 102 yards and a touchdown. He had 1 touchdown. Kittle, had 2 touchdowns. You have Kittle, you don't have Deebo. So to me, people are going to point, again, in this hypothetical scenario that we hope does not happen, if you don't have Christian McCaffrey, where do you get your offense? Where do you get your run game? They're going to lean heavy on Garendo. I don't know how much Brian Robinson can help, because I don't think he's gotten a grasp of the playbook to their specifications, especially when it comes to blitz pickup. So you're going to rely on Garendo again, and you're going to rely on Kittle. And there's one name that didn't play last year that I think is going to fill not the Deebo role, because Deebo was one of one, but Ricky Pearsall. To me, this is a game where Ricky Pearsall shows up and he's able to give you something in that offense that can be dynamic. But make no mistake, if there is no Christian McCaffrey, we saw it last night with the Eagles. Saquon Barkley makes all the difference for the world for that Eagles offense, and Christian McCaffrey is the exact same way.
Do you have high expectations for Ricky Pearsall this year?
I do. I do. Young man can play. I remember a little bit in Florida, and what I've seen from him, and the info I've got coming out of training camp is that he's ready. He's absolutely ready. But this is his first game of the season. Yeah, he got a chance to play last year, but this is his first opening day, if you will, game. And it's a whole different set of circumstances, because we are still talking about human beings. I mean, there's just, getting geared up for that game. So how does he handle that adrenaline? How does he handle the ebbs and the flows of that game? But I do think that Ricky Pearsall can be a dude, and be a dude quickly for him. And the combination he has with Brock Purdy, it's not an accident. I mean, these dudes are an absolute lockstep. But real game is a completely different story than training camp.
Yeah. Rod, I was talking earlier with the guys, and you would hear something like Christian McCaffrey potentially being out 2 years ago. Like, they don't have a chance. Like, they got this rookie, Mr. Irrelevant quarterback, and that's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
And, my partner brought up a scenario where Trent Williams, if he was like, that's
cooked.
That's cooked. After 2 full seasons of Brock Purdy, him playing at a very high level in one season, and him doing a pretty good job last year, getting the big contract, I feel like that pendulum has swung a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Where if Brock Purdy is who Niner fans hope he is, and who the organization paid him to be, you never want those guys out like McCaffrey and Trent Williams. But it should start to turn into, well, we've got Brock Purdy here, so we've always got a shot to win because we got this guy here. Do you think he's at that point going into a game like Sunday?
Well, no, I absolutely think he's at that point, because let's go back to last year. For all the problems the Niners had last year, Brock Purdy, to me, was at the bottom of that list. Now, there were many instances where he could have been better, but I would challenge anyone to look at the totality of last year and go, Brock Purdy was the reason that they only won 6 games. I saw it. I can't see it, and I don't think that's a fair assessment. But there were times last year where Brock Purdy's play was an issue, and I think, and even he's admitted it, because he was trying to do too much. Why was he trying to do too much? All right. Because he didn't have Christian McCaffrey, because he didn't have Brandon Ayuk, after a while, because of issues that they had on defense, not being able to stop the run, the issues that they had.
Shots.
Right, exactly. The issues they had on special teams. So clearly, Brock Purdy has to be better, but I don't think that his goal to be better than he was last year is that big of a goal to achieve. Because again, the problems last year the Niners had, I just don't think Brock Purdy was responsible for the majority of them. That being said, again, addressing hopefully it never happens, but the possible scenario that Christian McCaffrey is unable to play on Sunday against Seattle, well, that's a problem, because now about the red zone. That was one big issue for the Niners last year. They were awful in the red zone. Why were they awful in the red zone? Because you don't have Christian McCaffrey. All right. Again, like Saquon Barkley, make sure I'm not throwing shade on Jalen Hurts or anything on the Eagles, but he makes you a much better quarterback and a much better offense if you can get the ball to him and he can catch it with one hand and stiff arm a dude with another. I mean, come on, dog.
That was a linebacker too.
I mean, yeah, he's a linebacker playing running back, running over linebackers and catching the ball. So, if they don't have McCaffrey, red zone is going to be an issue. But does Pearsall make a difference there? Does Kittle, who got those 2 red zone touchdowns for the Niners last year, is he able to help out in that regard? I think, and I don't think that this is necessarily a controversial opinion, but I know people will raise eyebrows on it. If Trent Williams and Christian McCaffrey are both out, to me, the bigger loss is Trent Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you don't have to worry about that in this instance because Trent Williams is playing. But again, we don't know if McCaffrey's not going to be able to play. I'm just saying that I think that the Niners, because they have done it before and they have other pieces around offensively, I think they're more equipped to handle a game without Christian McCaffrey than they would be able to handle a game without Trent Williams.
We need to dump the Pretty Ricky name too. He's White Boy Rick now.
I go with Slick Rick.
He's White Boy Rick.
I like White Boy Rick.
Yeah, I can't go with Slick Rick because we all know who the real ruler is, and the Slick Rick's still throwing out albums right now to this day. He's still doing it.
I like Pretty Ricky too, though. I do like Pretty Ricky.
Pretty Ricky, what they call him. But yeah, to me, White Boy Rick is it.
I mean, the man got shot. Man got shot. Like
that is true.
Pretty gone now. Like,
but when you see him, though, I mean, what is he? He's White Boy Rick. I mean, it's right there in the description. Right? What's his name? Rick. What is he? White boy. White Boy Rick.
It works. Now, just real quick, not everybody's gonna get that. Google it. Like that. Just Google it. Just go with it. What? Like overall, we talked about Trent, Christian McCaffrey, the importance of them being in the lineup. Like, what is your expectation for this team overall?
Well, my expectation is they will be better than last year. Okay, I went out on a limb to say that. They will go to the playoffs. I don't know if they're going to win the division because if Matthew Stafford is healthy, that Rams outfit is pretty good. I mean, that defense is what the Niners hope that they can get. And I will get to the Niners' current defensive situation in a second. But that Rams defense is no joke. Seattle's an interesting situation. I can't wait to watch them play on Sunday because they've got a good defense. Rams is better. I wonder how that offensive line is going to hold up for Sam Darnold. But I find Seattle to be interesting. But I know about the Rams. For the Niners, they have enough to win. They have enough offensively, assuming Christian McCaffrey is healthy, knock on wood that happens. For me, their questions are going to be on defense. And how long does it take for the young guys that they just drafted and they are counting on immediately, like Michael Williams, to start? How long is it going to take those guys to get up to speed and get going and provide Robert Saleh and that defense what they need? Their big problem last year defensively was when they needed to stop the run, they could not stop the run. They would get run on in the fourth quarter, particularly up the middle. So Michael Williams, Alfred Collins, when he gets going, CJ West, those are the guys that I point to and go, if they can get going sooner rather than later, I think you're cooking with gas because the Niners are trying to do what the Rams did a couple of years ago. Get young, get talented, and hopefully these guys can get going. The Robert Saleh pickup is good because you know him. He's a very good defensive coordinator, obviously. But for him to get these young guys on the ground floor and get them up to speed, that to me is his main job. That is his main challenge. So if these young defensive players that the Niners just drafted can get it going, all right, you got it. I don't know about that. So to me, the offense is going to be ahead of the defense early. I think they will be somewhere around 500 after 8 games. And then to me, the defense will eventually pick up, and then it'll be a team that will be complementary of each other on both sides of the ball.
Rod, I'm glad you brought up the defense because the young guys that you talk about, that's a great point. But we talk about if Christian can't go, if Trent Williams can't go, a lot of pressure being on Brock Purdy. I look at 97,
Hmm.
and I look at he held out a couple years ago.
Also known as White Boy Nick.
Again, it's right there in the description.
It's right here in the description. Not the same as White Boy Rick.
No, they're different.
Vastly
They're the same, but they different.
But different.
Okay. But man, you held out a couple years ago. You wanted to be the highest non-paid quarterback in the game, and you haven't come close to being a DPOY level player. You look at Micah Parsons, TJ Watt, Myles Garrett. Right now, based off the last couple of years, they're I shouldn't say couple. They're a level ahead of you. You're maybe on that level because of reputation, but production-wise, wrecking the game. The one game I remember him last year wrecking was the Seattle game when they needed it. They needed it on a short week, and he went crazy.
Yeah.
I need that about 6 or 7 times this year. He didn't give it to us 6 or 7 times last year.
Well, a couple of things. Myles Garrett is a superior player. TJ Watt, the numbers are there. For me, I'd rather have Bosa. Bosa numbers are there with Micah Parsons. Bosa's a much better player against the run. Much better player at setting the edge. I think he doesn't get enough credit, Bosa, for what he does fitting into the Niners run scheme. I think for Bosa, though, getting him some help on the other side. And I mentioned Michael Williams, the Niners first-round draft pick. Bryce Huff, another guy. Give him some help on the other side. Let him get some one-on-ones. And when he gets those, he's got to win the vast majority of those. But if the Niners are in a situation where they were last year and in previous years at times, to where teams could focus on him, that's hard. And I understand where you're coming from, because we point to the raw numbers. You want to see sacks, you want to see quarterback hits, you want to see game disruption. But I think, though, it has to be a little bit more nuanced than that when talking about these upper echelon guys who are all great. When talking about them is their intangibles, and what else do they do other than, as important as it is, and this is what they're paid to do, other than cave in the left side of the offensive or the right side of the offensive line and harass the quarterback all game long. So I'm right there with you. And he wants this. Bosa, who doesn't say a whole lot, has hinted that he needs to get better. He wants to get better to be back in that defensive player of the year situation. But I will say this, you mentioned it. When you needed him, he did come through. And more often than not, even if the raw numbers don't necessarily say it, Nick Bosa comes through for you more often than not. I mean, to me, the big thing, the fact that he's been able to stay healthy, which was the main thing about him, that has not really been that big of an issue or an issue at all, quite frankly.
I need more of those Seattle games last year.
I get it.
In Seattle
I
last
get it.
year.
I guarantee you, if you said that to him, he'd go, I need to give you more of those Seattle games too.
Yeah. I guarantee if you said that to him, he'd say, get the hell out of his face.
No, we're going to need somebody else. Maybe Matt Mayoko can say that too. I don't know if we can.
We're going to need Ricky Pearsall to say it.
Do y'all doubt my ability to code switch? I wear a suit and tie for a living. Do y'all doubt my ability to be like, excuse me, Nick? I'm just wondering.
Okay, let's be honest. I could do it. I can pull it off. It'd be fine. I can do it. I can say, me and Rod go up there like Tom and Tom from The Living Color. Would be great.
Tom.
Yo.
Oh man, I go up there and be like, boy. Got a question, boy.
You ain't from around here, are you?
You lost, boy?
You lost? You ain't from around these parts, are you?
Actually, I'm from Sacramento. How'd you know that?
No, man.
Yo, man.
Are the 49ers Super Bowl contenders?
Well, yes. Yeah. You get to the playoffs, you're a Super Bowl contender. I see them as a playoff team. Are there better teams? Absolutely. But are they a squad that if they get in, can they make some things happen? Absolutely. Yeah. But again, it's going to be all predicated on how long does it take for the defense to do what it couldn't do last year, which was stop the run and disrupt passing games, specifically by getting to the quarterback on the regular. And for me, again, bringing it back to Robert Saleh, the last two defensive coordinators were defensive back minded, so to speak. What do you get when you get Robert Saleh? The front is the most important thing. Getting the quarterbacks. I mean, everybody says this, but not everybody drafts to that specification defensively, and not everybody focuses on that defensively. But Saleh, he does. That front, getting to the quarterback, stop the run. You just saw it in the draft. That told you everything you needed to know, how the Niners looked at last year and how they look at the now and the future. They had to get better on that defensive line up the middle, on the other side of Bosa. They need those linemen to occupy blocks so Fred Warner and D. Winters can flow sideline to sideline without having to deal with an offensive lineman coming at him or getting their hands on him. The Niners defensive line, they've got to stop the run so you get in those second and long, third and long situations. So now Bosa or Huff can go in there and do their job, or you could get some push up the middle and get some sacks up the middle. So if they can get that defense back to I shouldn't say back to what it was a few years ago, because a few years ago it was great. But if they could get it back to their standard, then this is a team, because I think offensively they're going to be really, really good. Again, with Christian McCaffrey's health being close to 100%. Offensively, they will get the job done. If the defense and the special teams, for special teams, just stop being awful at times. And this is not even just about Jake Moody, although he's the first person you think of. How about you stop getting got on fake punts? How about you do better in returns and opposing teams' punt returns and kick returns? Special teams just has to be barely competent, even though I think they will be better. If the defense is somewhere in the top 15, this Niner team is Super Bowl contending for sure. Winning the Super Bowl, that's an entirely different story.
Need some Hail Marys for that. Need some Hail
Might
Marys.
have to.
Yeah. I wanted to, running out of time, and I wanted to make sure Rod had at least 30 to 45 seconds to talk about the state of the Cowboys, because I don't know if there is a person in America more happy with how the last week and a half went down. So go do your thing, Rod.
Let me see. See, this ain't no game. I don't know if I can read that. This ain't no game, okay? I'm from Houston, Texas, okay? I've been hating Cowboys all my life, all right? Nothing brings me, and this is true, nothing brings me more joy, sports-wise, than watching the Cowboys fail. And I was just talking to a buddy of mine I play golf with who's a Cowboy fan.
One of the happiest men alive.
Right? And of course. And I'm like, I don't know what makes me happier. Watching the Cowboys mess it up in the playoffs because they got y'all's hopes up, Cowboy fans, or watching them be awful all year long. Either way, I'm winning. Watching CeeDee Lamb sit there looking at his hands like, how could you fail me? Like, you got hands like the Venus de Milo, dog. You dropped 4 passes last night. You one of the leaders in drops as a receiver. And we trained Michael Parsons because we need to get better against the run. And then they get run on all night long. And then they got no pass rush. Oh.
Then CD want to go in the blue tent after the last drop. Ain't nothing wrong with your head.
Hey, what
ain't no concussion.
What they gonna do? Sew an extra hand on there so you can fumble that one around too? Man, let me tell you something. Watching the Cowboys lose on TV, there ain't been nothing that funny on TV since Martin was in first run. Oh my God, I loved it.
That was exactly what I'm. Yes.
Before we let you go, I went widescreen. Can you walk us through some of what's going on in this backdrop here?
Go Tigers. You know what I'm saying? It's go blue, but it's still go Tigers.
Too Short Ice Cube concert.
Yeah. This is from
so much happening back here.
I stole this off of a telephone pole in Houston. Went to that concert. Too Short, Ice Cube, Poor Righteous Teachers, King T, Yo-Yo, and you see down there Kid Rock. It's the same Kid Rock. God. I saw Kid Rock. Yeah. Back when he was doing his White Boy Rick impression, back when he was rapidly rapping. Saw that.
What year was that?
Oh gosh, 1990.
And now that we've gone widescreen, I'm seeing the date. what better way to celebrate our Lord and Savior than to go see Too Short and Ice Cube?
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's 2 of the 3 wise men right there.
Well,
Nigga Free being the third.
You ain't lying.
my man, we appreciate you so much. These conversations always exceed expectations, my man. We appreciate you.
Oh man, y'all 2 of my favorites, dog. Y'all be good.
Take care,
You too.
Rob.
All right,
That's our man Rob Brooks right there. As you